Hello everyone, welcome back to another installation video, and in today's video we have this 2023 Mazda CX-5 and we're going to do the installation for the taillight tints. So this is how it looks before the installation. So as you can see, it's your regular default color taillights, and this is how it looks after the installation. So the tints will provide protection on your taillight lenses, preventing the lenses from yellowing over time, as well as protecting it from any small scratches. And if you like how the product looks, link for the product will be down in the description below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. Okay, so before starting the installation, we just want to clean the taillight lenses. So we're just applying our slip solution to wipe off any contaminants that the taillight might have. So to start off the installation, we're going to apply the front piece first. So we're just applying our slip solution onto the lens and to the tint. That way we're able to align it to the position we need it to. So with this one, make sure you're matching the tint to the top edge here, as well as on this edge here. Once you have it aligned to the edges, our next step is to tack the film down to the taillight. To tack the film down, we're just going to apply tack solution underneath the film and on top, and then just start securing the tint to the spot. And you are going to have some small fingers. These fingers, we could remove them a little bit by adding tack solution and then heat, because this one curves to the curved design of the taillight here. So just apply a little bit of pressure when squeegeeing to remove the fingers, and make sure you're squeegeeing at an angle. And now we're just going to seal it off with some tack solution underneath, and then apply heat, and then we're just going to start sealing all the edges. But make sure before you start sealing the edges, double check and see if there's any water bubbles on the back of the film. If there's no water bubbles, then you can continue to proceed to seal the edges here. Okay, and now we can proceed to sealing the edges. So remember to squeegee at an angle. And then just dry it off to make sure we secured the edges. So make sure nothing's lifting. And if you see that nothing's lifting, now we can move on with the next installation. Okay, so now we're moving on to this piece right here. So just apply your slip solution on both the lens and on the taillight. To start off the installation, we want to align this cutout to this section of the taillight here. That way we know it's going to be aligned. So once we have it here, it should fall in place here, and then following all around here. If you need to just adjust it a bit, you can. Just make sure it's aligned here as well. So it should be like that. We're going to start by tacking down this piece here. So just lift the film, apply tack solution to start tacking down the film, and then just squeegee lightly at first, just so the tints could start tacking down to the taillight. And now that it's secured in place, now we could start tacking it down with more pressure. So just lift the film, apply just a little bit of slip solution, and then stretch it. And make sure while you're stretching, it's aligned here and underneath here. So start tacking it down on top, tack it down. And now with this piece here, we're going to do the same thing. Just start stretching the film to place it over here. So it's going to overlap over here to this piece of the taillight. So just stretch, squeegee down. Squeegee as much as you can, because the rest we're going to remove it with heat and more tack solution. Okay, and it should look like this. So now the last thing is just removing these fingers and securing it into place. So now just apply tack solution here and apply heat, and we start removing the fingers. Before moving on to the next installation, we need to make sure that everything is secured and that nothing's peeling off. And now that we see that everything's good, now we can move on with the next installation here. So with this one, we're just going to apply slip solution on both the lens and the tint. We're going to start off by aligning it to this edge first. So make sure it's aligned here, and make sure we're covering the red portion of the taillight. Once we have it aligned, lift the film, apply tack solution, and then start tagging it down. Make sure you hold it in place with one hand and squeegee with the other one. That way it doesn't move out of the position we aligned it on. And then just start tacking everything down. And then from here, just make sure it's still covering the whole taillight. And if you need to lift it, you can. And then from here, we just make sure it's aligned. If we need to do a light stretch, we can, as long as it just covers up to the edge here and overlaps with this tint here. And if you need to add tack solution to help the adhesive activate faster, you can. And start securing it to the taillight. Okay, now the last thing to do is just secure it on the edge here. So we're going to apply tack solution So just apply tack solution on the edges here, and then with heat and squeegeeing it down to start securing it into place. And now that we're done here, we can move on to this last section here. Okay, so now we move on to this installation. So just apply slip solution again, and then align it here. So with this one, we're going to align it right on the edge here, where it's about to curve in, because it has to cover the curve on the inside here. Once we have it to the edge here, make sure everything's covered on top. Align it here, and align it down here. And we're just going to lift the film just a bit to start applying tack solution. That way we secure it in place. If the film keeps lifting here, that's fine. With tack solution and with heat, we're able to seal it. But for now, the main thing is just to secure it in place, because right here, we are gonna need to stretch the film just a bit and add a lot of tack solution. That way the tint molds to this design on the tail light here, because it does have like this curved design. So we're going to need to apply tack solution. And then as we're helping the mold, make sure that it's covering the rest of the tail light here. So apply tack solution and then stretch it just a bit. And then once we have it stretched out, start molding the tint to the curve here. And then make sure before you finish off, make sure you're covering up to the edge here of the tail light. Make sure you remove any tack solution that's on the back of the film, because once we start sealing it, we won't be able to remove it. So make sure we remove everything that's behind it. That way it looks flush. Okay, and now the last thing to do is just making sure we secure in spot solution again, and then with heat, just so we know the film isn't gonna start peeling because of this curve. And then don't forget to just seal this piece here with heat. So just add a little bit of tack solution and then start securing it down with heat. And now we move on to the last piece here. Okay, so it's the same steps we did with this one. We're going to do it with this one. So it's just applying slip solution on top and making sure we align it to the edge first. So make sure you're following the curve of the design of the tail light. Apply tack solution, and then hold it with one hand, and then with the other one start squeegeeing down. And just make sure everything's aligned. So just lift and align it to the position it needs to be. And then from here, just continue on tacking it down. Once we secured everything, the last thing is sealing everything with tack solution and then with heat, and it should be done. And that's it. So once we finish installing all of the pieces on the tail light, the last thing is just adding tack solution all around the edges and where each of the tint overlap each other. With post heating, we make sure that the adhesive on the tint activates faster, so that way it sticks to the lenses. So just start applying tack solution with your microfiber towel and heat, start sealing everything. Okay, so that concludes the installation video for the Mazda CX-5 2023. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. If you guys do have any questions in regards to installation, feel free to message us and we'll be happy to help you guys out. Make sure to give the video a like, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, that way you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you guys for watching and we'll see you guys on the next one.